Hi, I'm Lindsey Repp, and I'm going to be talking to you today about the flex budget, how to fill it out, and also how to analyze it and ask questions about your business using it. When you're given a flex budget that isn't filled out, you're given the actual results as well as the static budget. The static budget is determined ahead of time. It's determined before the financial period. This is your goal. This is what you want to obtain during the period. While the actual results obviously are going to be obtained after the period. This is what actually happened. When you're filling out a flex budget, you want to start with your budget amount per units. And that's going to be based off of the static budget. So $750, how did we get that? This is obtained by taking the sales revenue divided by the total amount of units budgeted for. And so the budget amount is going to be $750 per unit. And you can go ahead and do that for the entire column. After you fill out that column, you want to look at the flex budget column. The flex budget is pretty much your static budget adjusted for the different sales volume sold. So our actual sales volume is going to be 52,000 units. So that's what we're going to put up top here. And then we're going to start with sales revenue. To get that, you would take your number of units and then you would multiply it by the unit price obtained from the static budget. So you would take 52,000 times 750 to get your $390,000 of sales revenue. You can go ahead and do that for the entire column as well. After you fill out the flex budget column, you want to move on to the actual, or to either the flex budget variance column or the sales volume variance. It really doesn't matter which. So we're going to start with the flex budget variance column. The flex budget variance is based off the difference between the actual results and the flex budget results. So let's look at sales revenue, for instance. It's going to be a difference of $5,200. That's $390,000 from the flex budget minus the $384,800 from the actual results. And that's going to result in a difference of $5,200. And there's a U by it. These variances can either be favorable or unfavorable for the business. We put a U for unfavorable because the sales revenue that was actually obtained is less than our budgeted amount. And obviously the more sales revenue, the better. So because we obtained less sales revenue, it's unfavorable for the company. Now if we go down and look at direct labor, it's got an F. That's because the actual results, again, were less, $10,400 less than the flex budget. But because direct labor is an expense, the less expense, the better. So obviously having less expense than we budgeted for is going to be favorable for the company. That needs to be done for the entire column. After the flex budget variance, you can move on to the sales volume variance, and you do the same thing, except this is based off the difference between the flex budget and the static budget. So again, let's look at sales revenue. 390,000 minus 375,000 results in a difference of 15,000. And because our budgeted sales revenue of 375,000 is less than our flex budget, it's going to be a favorable 15,000. And again, you do that for the entire column. Now once you've gone ahead and filled out the entire flex budget, you can start asking questions about it. So for example, we could ask about the unit price that sales revenue was, the price per unit that these objects were sold at. If you take 384,800, which was the actual sales revenue, and divide it by the actual amount of units sold, you actually get 740 rather than 750. Now you might want to ask, why is that? Was it the market? Maybe your product wasn't as popular as you expected it to be, and so it sold for less. If that's the case, then you need to think about that in the future and possibly budget for it. But if not, maybe it was an internal thing and it's not expected to be the same next period. Then you don't have to adjust for it. Let's also look at direct materials. Direct materials in the flex budget variance had an unfavorable variance of $13,000. Now why is that? Maybe it was due to political change. Perhaps more tariffs were put on the material, making them more expensive to import. If that's the case, then you have to account for that in future budgeting. But possibly, maybe there was some internal accident where your materials were damaged and you had to order all new ones. If that's the case, then that event is rare and you don't have to account for it in the future because it's not expected to happen again. And you can ask questions like this for the entire flex budget. So that's the flex budget. Thank you.